Okay. Like she said, it's being recorded, just to let you know. So guys, what we're going to talk about today is how to take your phone contacts, which I know I have a bunch of them, and turn them into listings. So everybody pull out their phone and open up your contacts. If you have an Android, you're going to have to highlight all of them and tell me how many contacts you have. I have 1,864. How many has everybody got?
800.
With the iPhone, scroll all the way down to the bottom and it'll tell you at the very bottom.
I have 800.
You got 800. Okay. 482. What do you got?
1,400.
1,440. Pull out your phone. Let me know how many contacts you got. Who else?
I got 1,200.
You got 1,200. You got an iPhone, scroll all the way to the bottom.
391.
391.
423.
423. Okay, so all of those numbers, multiply that by 0.06. That's roughly how many people out of your phone are going to move this year. 6 to 7% of what you have in your phone is going to move this year. So, easy thing to do is to start at the bottom or the top, take your pick, I don't care, and start calling them and talking to them, because all these people you know, like, and trust. All these people are in here for a reason. You've done a job, you've done work with them, you have sold them a house already, or bought them a house, or talked to them about a house. They are friends with you. They are colleagues from when you work somewhere else. Like, all of these people know, like, and trust you. All you gotta do is pick up the phone. And it's they know, like, and trust you, so it's a simple conversation. It's a conversation of, hey, have you had any thoughts of buying if you know they rent, or if they already own? Hey, how has COVID affected how you think about your house? Because how many of y'all have worked from home, have kids who have had to stay home for virtual school, have spouses who have had to stay home, have family members who have had to stay home? Yeah, probably the majority of you know somebody who had to change from in-person to at home, and the house became this big instead of this big.
We're moving now, so.
See, there you go. He's moving right now because of what we're talking about.
But my dad is also a realtor, not letting me sell my house. So.
Hey, that's a family feud. I don't get into family feuds. But guys, really though, just take your phone. 6 to 7% of them either are going to move, are going to sell, or going to buy, or know somebody who's going to do that. And a simple phone call with, hey, just wanted to check in. How's life? They're going to talk about how their life is. You know, how's your work going? They're going to talk about how their work is. And then usually they reciprocate with, how's work for you? And that's when you can start saying, you know, work is great. We're looking for sellers. We're looking for buyers. We're looking for people to move. Have you had any thoughts of moving? Or you can go, we're looking for sellers. We're looking for buyers. How's COVID changed the way you feel about your home? You know, has it made it too small? Are you looking for something different? Are you looking for something bigger? Are you looking for something smaller? You know, have you realized, like, to those empty nesters, have you realized that 4,300 square foot house that you live in that had all the kids has now become very empty and you're ready to downsize? But it's simple. I tell you this every time we get on the, every time I do a Zoom, it's simple. But literally, or you can just take this and text the question to friends you've been talking to. Hey, how has COVID in the past year changed the way you feel about your house? Because if you think about it, when they all moved home, somebody's doing school or work on the dining room table. Somebody's probably in the master bedroom or the master closet, and the kids are probably in their own bedroom. And now the house has become way too small and they're ready to downsize or upsize. And you can help them do that, both on market, off market, and you can chat with them about, this is what your house is worth, or this is what we're looking for. And then you've got clients from your 300, 400, 1,200, from whatever your contacts are in here. And any of you in sales previously? Anybody? Yeah, you've got all those sales contacts, if you were in sales previously, from people that you called on that ended up liking and trusting you. That's where half mine are. Of course, don't call the real estate agent. So let's take your number and probably get rid of 50 of them or 100 of them. And that's real estate agents. But call everybody else. And you can make it a goal to like, hey, I'm going to call 5 a day. So you said you had 400. So let's see, at 5 a day, we're going to take, how long have you been in real estate?
This is my first, like I just became active this past May, I guess. But then before that, I got my license in 2019.
So say you have like 50 realtors in your phone? Okay.
Sure. I think it's only probably closer to like 5 or 6.
Okay.
Not other than other hometown agents.
So we'll say you have 50, we'll say you have 20 realtors in your phone and divide that. Let's say he says, I'm going to call or text 5 a day. That's 76 days worth of calling and texting. That gives him some people that he's talked to that he likes and trusts. And even if it's just a call that follows up and connects you and reminds them, hey, yeah, I'm in real estate, like that gets their wheels turning. Because then you can go, when they're like, oh no, I don't know anybody or anything, then you can start into the campaign and ask, hey, if you were to find somebody that was looking to buy or sell, would I be the person you recommend? So you can take a bunch of these pieces and a bunch of these different scripts and push them together into one phone call without seeming overwhelming, because you're leading the phone call and you're asking the questions and you're making them talk about them. That's all people want to do is talk about them. And if you can get them talking about them, the conversation will come around to real estate if they know you're in real estate. Never fails, always happens. I literally call my database. I'm like, hey, just calling to catch up. How's life? They'll tell me how life is and they'll be like, hey, Kacie, I'm not looking to sell now, but we're thinking about it in this long. Or I'm not looking to buy, but I'm working on this. I need to work on my credit. Great. Do you have somebody helping you work on your credit? They're like, no. Great. Can I go ahead and get my lender to reach out to you and get you a plan? And then we'll have a plan for you to get to where you want to be. Oh yeah, we would love that. Made 3 of those phone calls yesterday. So it's an easy in when they know, like, and trust you. It's an easy way to get deals. Who wants deals this year? Anybody? How many deals do we want?
I've got 2 under contract, so I would like 4 or 5 more.
Before the end of the year?
Before the end of the year.
So we want 7
total, yeah.
How many deals do we want this year?
As many as I can get started on.
You need a number.
Smart goals.
You need a number.
Katie said 1 to 2 in my 100 basic greatness program, and that's just until that runs its course. So hopefully I can get more outside of that as well.
Perfect. Find a number. How many deals do you want?
30.
Ariel wants 30. Who else wants to share? What's our goals? Jacob wants 2. Davina, what's your number? Jacob wants 20. Okay, Jacob wants 20.
23.
Brian wants 23. Davina wants 10.
10 for me.
Sandy wants 10. Tyler wants 10. And if you take how many contacts you have in your phone and you multiply it by 6%, will that give you what you're looking for? Yeah, make phone calls, guys. Make your phone calls. And I mean, most of these people that you're looking at, you can then set a time. If they're like, no, I don't know anybody. Like, I don't know anything. You can be like, hey, well, can we grab coffee? Just catch up. I haven't seen you in a while. Like, and in coffee, real estate's going to come up. You can explain what's going on with the market, because most everybody's hearing what's going on. The news is feeding them that the market is crazy and there's going to be a bubble and this is going to pop and this is going to be this, 2008 all over again. And you can be like, no, let me explain to you why it's not. And in that explanation, you may calm their fears enough to go, well, we really were thinking about moving, but we just didn't want to be part of this bubble. So it's ways. Shoot.
Give us a small little bit of that conversation of how to explain how it's not like 2008, because a lot of us weren't there.
So no problem. So in 2008, we were in a buyer's market. We were deep into a buyer's market. And what happened was all these lenders out here decided to give what's called ninja loans. You could walk into a lender and say, hey, I make $100,000. I have no debt. I have perfect credit. And they wouldn't ask for any documents. And they'd basically hand you a loan. And so the lenders, this outside force, were feeding this buyer's market and creating this artificial push up of prices, because we're in a buyer's market. So a buyer's market, you should be paying below market value, not above it. And so once we got to a tipping point where the lenders had sent too much, you know, into this market, the bubble of course burst and everything crashed. We are deep into a seller's market. We are simple supply and demand. If you've been into any type of economics class, when demand is low and supply is high, prices are driven up. When you get out of supply and demand, nothing bursts, because as supply comes up, supply comes to meet with demand, and the prices level themselves out. And so you get a leveling effect where maybe for the next couple of years, we look at 1 to 3, 1 to 4% appreciation versus the 11% that we had in a Virginia average last year. Or as demand comes down to meet supply, again, you get a leveling effect. You can't burst a bubble in a seller's market, because seller's market is supply and demand. Buyer's market is where you get the artificial buildup of everything. So, and plus you can talk to them about how it is freaking hard to get a loan right now. Like, I know you all have buyers that have been told no. I know you all have buyers that have been told this is how long you have to wait. It is so much harder. And if you go to Keeping Current Matters, they have an Instagram page that explains all of this. It is exponentially harder to get a loan at the moment than it is to get a loan back in 2006, 7, and 8, which led up to that crash. And so knowing those two factors show that this is not artificial and this is not a bubble. This is just supply and demand. So at some point, are we not going to see the price increases that we're getting this year? Absolutely. The price increases are going to slow down. However, it's not going to be a drastic like burst of a bubble. So the other thing in 2008, if you look at price increases, we were 15%, 16%, and then like 20-some% price increase over 3 years. Last year, we were an average of 11% for Virginia. The year before that, I think we were an average of like 10%. All of these statistics I'm getting from Keeping Current Matters as they pull all these and extrapolate all these statistics out. So I don't have to, I just get it from their Facebook page, and then I'm able to use it and pass it on. So that would be a good conversation to be able to calm their fears, and you have stats to back it up, not just this is how I feel or this is what I think. This is, here are the hard statistics behind it. Does that help, Davina? Okay. So, but those are, when you call these guys in here, when you call that, you can set up times to talk with them and you can calm their fears, because if you calm their fears, they're going to share with their friends, and they're going to share with their friends, and it's going to go out, and it's going to be like, well, where'd you find this? Because everybody's always very, very skeptical when you share statistics and things. Well, where'd you get that? And so now your name tags along with all of that. So all because you made a phone call and you ate some donuts or coffee or something, you know?
It's not what we're speaking about.
No, I mean, exactly.
I was late.
There you go. So he had coffee and you had breakfast.
Breakfast.
We had bagel breakfast with somebody. It's a contact sport, guys. It's a contact sport. And then really, like, if you find somebody that you haven't seen in a while, go knock on their door, drop off a pop by, just say hi, drop off a little thing that just, you know, the cheesy thing that says, I'm here to give you the real estate scoop, or I just popped by with some popcorn to say I won't keep your house a secret if we put it on the market. Something, you know, something cheesy that everybody's like, oh, look at this, this is cute. And again, it brings that memory back that you're an agent without being, hi, do you want to sell your house? Hi, do you want to sell your house? Hi, do you want to sell? Without doing that over and over again. Any questions? Y'all just a quiet bunch this morning? No questions. Okay. Well, why don't we all take a few minutes? Why don't you text 5 to 10 of your friends on your pick, start at the bottom or start at the top. Start at the bottom because most of you start at the top all the time. So your A's see a lot of action where your Z's don't. And just text your friends, hey, how you doing? Or text them, hey, how has COVID changed the way you feel about your home? I'm not joking. I know I can't see all of you.
I do have a question, I guess, pertaining to this. So in my instance, and I guess it would be kind of similar for Jinx, but having just graduated college this year, most of my immediate like close friends, none of them are in any sort of position to be able to buy a house. They're all like me. They just graduated and getting entry-level jobs and doing whatever else. So I know obviously from there, Mike has always been like parents, grandparents, all of that, which is an avenue that I've taken and done all right with thus far. But with, I mean, just generally speaking, a lot of those contacts in my phone being my age and not in a position to buy. And if I don't have their parents' contact already, or if they're somebody who I'm not as close with where I don't know their parents already, what would be the best, I guess, avenue of trying to get to them?
Hey, have you thought about buying or selling? Let's talk, because it's never too early to start planning for that, you know, because then when you sit down with them and you start going through, I've gone through, we have a buyer book on my team. I've gone through that buyer book 1.5 to 2 years in advance of them buying. Like I've got guys under contract that I got when I started the team 2 years ago. But in that conversation, as you sit down with them and talk through that book with them, now you've opened up avenues to sit and talk like, hey, how are your parents doing? Like, are they loving their house? Did COVID change how they're doing? Are they have to be from home? Like you can start asking those questions while sitting down with them instead of awkwardly doing it over text message.
Sure.
So I think your avenue with the people that you don't know so well is more, hey, I know you're not ready to buy, but have you had thoughts of it in the future? Love to just give you all the information so that you're ready. You know, you've got a ton of information when you're ready. Like, let's sit down and grab some coffee. Love to catch up anyways.
Yeah.
You know, so go the whole avenue of like, let's get you ready. And then when you're sitting down with them, pepper in the parents.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Because, you know, especially the kids that are really close with their parents, you know that they have some influence over.
Right.
Or they'll be like, hey, but my friend's an agent, like really throw him a bone and see what he does.
I was gonna say, because I've got one of my close friends who my dad's a builder and he actually works for my dad, but they really love the neighborhood that I'm getting ready to move into. And so they're like kind of on the fence as to whether or not they want to move. Like they've been in the same house for like 20 years or something in the colonies, but they want to move, but they're not entirely sure as to when. But so I'm trying to figure out when it is that, because they haven't given me a specific time frame or anything like that, but because not only would I be able to sell their current one, they already said they feel more than comfortable to use me. They just don't know when they would do it, but to sell their current one and then also represent them and purchase of the next one. So.
We can always set up a time with them and say, hey, let's sit down and chat about the process. We can, I know you've been through it, but it's probably been a while. We can talk about what it takes to buy, what it takes to sell, and how we need to do it in this market. And that puts you in front of them. And then as you talk through, like, if you're looking to build, it's going to take this much to build. If you're looking to buy outright, then we need to either put you on the market, get you a rent back and buy, like, or we need to find you something off market while you get your house ready and then you sell your house. So it puts you in the place of a knowledge broker of just being able to share everything and B, walking out timelines. So that when they're like, oh, we do want to build, we should probably start now because we really are thinking of 6 months from now. You know, because now you're giving them timelines that they can then match up and plop into what they're looking at. But at the moment, if you said they've been in their house 20 years.
It's been a while. They started doing like remodel stuff during COVID because they were like, no, we haven't done anything with this in so long. So redid dining room. I mean, nothing crazy, but like redid their dining room.
Paint and floors and things.
Exactly. And I think they did one other, either master or like one of the other bedrooms as well. So.
Well, then that'll also give you a chance to say, hey, I know you're redoing some things. Like, let me come in and let you and steer you so you get the most bang for your buck. Like, you know, so you can say, hey, granite countertop's great, but it really isn't a huge bang for your buck. If you paint your cabinets white, you're going to get the same effect kind of thing. Or, you know, don't worry about that, taking down the wallpaper, paint over it, that kind of thing. You know, especially if it's not textured, but the people after you will hate you. I have multiple rooms in my house I have to do that with. But you can do all of those bits and pieces in a knowledge broker and help them walk through without pushing them to go ahead. And that gives you a reason to keep up with them.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I didn't want to seem pushing and be like, hey, do it now. But like, I think now would be the best time for them to sell their current one and then start building. So.
Correct. And so now you can, I would get a meeting with them and do that, because then you can be like, hey, how's that dining room coming? Our house, you know, I know we talked about doing the kitchen. Like, did you decide to paint? And it gives you a reason to call without being like, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I was going to say, and that's what I don't want to seem like. It's just calling, hey, you ready? Every time. So perfect.
But that's what I would do, is get a meeting and just walk through the whole process so they know how long it takes.
Yeah.
Because when they sold, if they bought 20 years ago, probably a buyer's market. So they don't realize how fast houses are going.
Yeah.
And like, you hear it on the news, but you don't always put it on your house.
Right. And it's in a neighborhood where I think if they listed it tomorrow, it would be gone. Yeah.
Yep.
So
that's what I would do.
Yeah.
And I did it. There's a lady 3 doors down from me that I ended up, I cold called. She was like, well, I'm thinking about it, but I don't know. And da, da, da. And she's back and forth. I was like, let's just sit down and talk about timelines. Like, just give you information. And when you're ready, you know, I'll be here. She was like, okay. We ended up putting it on the market. We had to withdraw it because her plan of where she was going sort of blew up.
Yeah.
But now we're waiting for that to finish. And then we're going to go back on market and go.
Nice.
But I mean, she was wavering back and forth of when, and when I sat down and laid everything out for her, she was like, oh, well, let's do it now.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So sometimes that just little extra information is the push that they need to be like, oh, let's do it. Yes.
Yeah. That was, my parents were going to wait. And then my dad, having built the house that I live in now only like 4 years ago, but him being able to get a lot more out of it than he paid to build it, he was like, yeah, we're out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, he's licensed, so he doesn't need me to do it. He was like, why would I pay you to do it? I can do it myself. So I was like, fair play.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So,
hey, Kacie, I have a quick question for you. I think you kind of just touched on it, but I was wondering if you can maybe speak more to. So I have 3 or 4 clients right now that are looking to buy, but they need to sell their house first, right? So it's kind of like what you were just kind of explaining. But like, what's the best way to handle that? I mean, do you try to have them get their house on the market now, but then they risk, you know, having to either try to find somewhere that they can rent before they can find their new house, or like, what's the best way to go about doing that?
You give them options. So I have 3 or 4 options I can give you. And I sit down with them. I'm like, look, there's a couple options to help you buy and sell at the same time. It's a tough market to do this, but we can make it happen. So option 1, we just go ahead and we wait and we look at houses and we try to find something off market for you, or we try to find something that's been on the market a little longer that'll take a contingent contract. It's really hard in this market to get somebody to take a contingent contract, but if we can find something off market, we can usually just line it up and make it super easy for you. Option 2, we go ahead, we put you on market, we get you sold, and then we get you a 2-month rent back. We can't go longer than 2 months with a rent back due to legalities of the loan. But the other way we could do it is go ahead and get you under contract and get you a long close. That way we have time to go out, find a house, get the house, and get it under contract and get it closed for you. So you're back to back. That would just be just like the first one. Like, we close one day on one house, we close the other day on the other house. The other option that my clients really are never really like, but it is an option, is to go ahead, get you sold, get you closed, put you in, you know, get you in an apartment or a short-term rental or something like that, and look for that perfect house for you while you're renting. A lot of my clients don't like that because they've owned for years and they just feel like it's throwing away money. However, you know, if we're looking for that needle in a haystack, that might be the best option for you. You know, the last option is really for us to just, like I said in the beginning, wait around till we find the perfect house and then just run like crazy and try to line it all up and get it done. Or if we can get you finance contingent, then we can look, and when we find it, put an offer there, put your house on the market, not have to find, you know, do it contingent and line it up that way. I've done that. I had 2 clients that didn't need to be a contingent offer. They could afford both houses. And so we waited to put their house on the market. We went ahead and we found them the perfect house. We wrote, I think, a 45-day close is what I wrote on it. So I could put their house on the market, get it sold, and line it up back to back. So I gave myself a longer piece in the front end or in the new house so I could line the old house up with it. Does that make sense, Brian?
Yeah, that's really helpful.
Yeah, so those are some talking tracks to go through, because they do have some options, and really it comes down to how do they feel and what makes them feel the best. Because some guys are like, well, I don't want to feel rushed, and if I sell my house and then I have 60 days to find a house, like I'm going to feel really rushed, and that's not me. Where some of them are like, hey, if you can find it off market and we can put it all together off market, you know, and then I can sell my house and we can make it work, like that's more the option. But they have to know that might take a little longer than just looking normal.
Hey, Kacie.
Shoot.
It's Sarah Gillis. I'm sorry. Can I offer one other option?
Shoot.
What I did when we were between houses the last time, and my old realtor, now that I am one, my former realtor actually suggested this. We stayed with family in between, because it was like 3 weeks closing on one and the other. I know not everybody's going to want to do that or can do that, but that is another option.
That is definitely another option. I had a client do that. Actually, I just sold their house. They're closing on it in a week. They're moving in with family while they wait for their new build to be built. So there's lots of options. It's just for your clients, it's giving them options and then letting them pick. Because it totally is, you're the guide. I like to always tell people I'm the bumpers. If you ever went bumper bowling, I'm your bumpers. I will keep you within those bumpers, but you get to pick the options you want to go to. Because I'm not here to push you into one way or the other. I'm here to lay all the options out and you pick it. So, anybody got any responses back from their texts?
4.
What'd yours say?
I haven't opened them yet because I'm going to organize them in a spreadsheet when I get upstairs.
Well,
Type A.
Well, Ariel texted everything. She got 4 text messages back. Anybody else got responses from text messages? Not yet. The other reason I say to text, so you should, when you call, you should follow up with a text. And the reason is, like, it's like 98 or 93 or something. It's like 90+% of text messages are read. If you leave a voicemail, it's something like 20% or less of voicemails are listened to. So if you call somebody and you get their voicemail, have at leaving a voicemail, but then follow up with a text message. Hey, sorry, I missed you. Just wanted to ask, blah, 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 whatever you want to ask. You know, how has COVID changed? Or, hey, can we catch up for coffee, or whatever it may be, so that they're seeing what they're not going to listen to. Because how many people listen to their voicemails or call somebody back and was like, hey, I missed your call. I haven't listened to your voicemail. What's up? I did me all the time. So, guys, that's all I got for you today. Unless y'all got questions on anything else, I'm open to answer anything you got. Other than that, go make some phone calls. Go make phone calls to your client, your contacts. Go sell some houses.
Thanks, Kacie.
You're welcome. Y'all have a great afternoon.
You too.
Thank you.